What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. Rub the cobwebs out of your eyes, splash some cold water on your face, chug 10 gallons of coffee. The West Coast trip is over. I can't speak. Scott, what's up? Try and say that word. It's not easy. Mercifully?
I don't even know what the hell word you're trying to say, but yeah, the West Coast. Yeah, that the West Coast trip is over. I swear to God, as we get older, they become harder and harder, and my body shuts down. And I try to stay awake for the whole thing. I really do, and I don't know why it matters. After giving up a 3-run shot, at least it was in the 6th inning, giving up a shot. But man, he did it again. He did it again. Just when you think you could trust the guy. And I know my guy, IKF, booted an easy freaking ball that he needs to make the play. Absolutely, 1,000%. But you know what? When the opponent's best player, the MVP candidate that we're arguing against right now, and Gerrit Cole not helping the case for his guy, Aaron Judge, throws a 98-mile-an-hour fastball down the gut. And I don't give a shit how fast it's going anymore. It doesn't matter. Shohei Ohtani is looking for that pitch, absolutely puts a tremendous swing on it and puts it over the center field fence. And again, Ohtani. snake bit again in the inning. 3 runs,
Ohtani.
Enough.
Ohtani killed the Yankees twice. He was the difference in the 2 Angels wins. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing with Cole, right? It's like 7-inning start, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. You look just at the numbers and you're like, okay, that's pretty good. That's what you want from your number 1 pitcher. And then when you realize, well, the opposing team's best player beat him again. It's just so frustrating.
On a mistake pitch. It was a ball over the plate, way too much of the plate. It was put on a
But it's a situation where you're up 2-0. Your offense is continuing to suck ass and not score anything. You are the team's ace. You are making the most money on the team. You cannot give up a 3-run shot in that spot. You just can't do it. Maybe on the one hand, I understand it's unfair to get on Cole in this situation. What are you to do? What are you expecting to pitch a shutout every single time? You know what? Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I expect him to just go pitch a shutout. The same way I expect him to not get beat time and time again by Rafael Devers. And the same way I expect him not to give up 5 runs in an inning to the Toronto Blue Jays when the team has finally had a lead a couple weekends back. Okay? Sometimes you just need your best player to be the best player on the field.
Yes, and it's not like our best player is not among the best players in the league. He is. He's supposed to be one of the best pitchers in the league. So at that point, I'm not looking at, do I want my guy to pitch a shutout? Okay, he's in that situation right now. He just needs to make a big pitch and get a big out for this. Worst case scenario, not give up a 3-run home run. Don't give up. How about we not give up the big blow that gives the other team the lead? You have a 2-0 lead. Pitch like pitch like you're the better guy, but also don't make mistakes over the plate to the guy that's looking for a mistake over the plate. Ohtani's walking up there after getting brushed back, looking at the dugout like, hey, do I need maybe it hit a fiber of my jersey. I wish it did. It would have been made things a lot better at that point. But he walks up there. He's looking fastball. He's looking fastball over the plate. And sure as shit, Cole gives him one on a silver platter that he tees off on. So it was a bad mistake pitch in a big moment. And that is exactly. You got to break down the micro moments with him. I understand the body of work is good, and this is what goes back to like A-Rod would drive me insane because the body of work was always very good, great even. But when you look at the moments, and I know he's had moments, this is a bad comparison. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up right now. But with Cole, when we're in these big moments, because this is what's going to happen in the postseason and does happen in the postseason, he needs to be able to execute in those big moments, pick his guys up or pick himself up or when the team needs, a guy to go out there and shove, he can do that. And right now, he puts the fear in nobody.
I'm sorry,
but he doesn't.
He puts the fear in a couple people.
Leighton Close.
The fear in me.
Gerrit Cole. He's like, who? Yeah, I guess so. In the fans, yeah. Dude,
I know.
The lead's down to 6.
Okay, this
Five-
is now I was
five
just
in the
pulling
loss
these numbers this
column.
morning. Their record after the end of June was 56-21. That's a 727 win percentage. Their record today, this morning, on September 1st, is 79-52. That's still a 603 winning. July and August, they've gone 23-31. 23-31 over 2 months. This is not a blip. This is not a small sample. This is almost half of the season they've played under 500 baseball. So I'm done.
Yeah, I I have no words for it. But no, it's no longer just a thing. I mean, it's
Two
been
full
it's
calendar
been no
months.
longer
It's
been
now
a thing
September
for a while
1st,
now,
the last
but
month of the season.
when you go 2 months.
So they have.
as soon as you get into that
this is a
second month,
make or
you're-
break month. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't just say, "Oh well, get ready." They're going to get ready for October. They're just getting ready for October. Okay, this is now the time to get ready for October. You've got a month of baseball left. Okay. Yeah, Aaron Judge is 10 home runs away from tying Roger Maris's Yankee record. That's all fun and dandy, but if this team continues to go 500 and limp into the playoffs, guess what? They're going to get bounced in the first round.
Look, they are 6 games out. Again, 5 in the last column against Tampa. How many games are against Tampa left in the season? 6. 6 games against Tampa. That is not a situation that I want to be in at this point. That is not a situation that any of us thought this team would ever be in. When that record that you said just now sounds like a made up, it sounds like a something that your father would have said at like the All-Star break, like, oh, going ahead, this team is not that good. This is what I expect, and he was right. This is some high-end pessimistic projections here, because after you watch what happened in the first half, in a million years you could not see this team doing the things that they've done, because they've also gotten better on paper, and that is what is driving me insane, and I don't understand why this offense is doing the things it's doing. And you're about to read a text from your father. Yes,
I'm not going to read the whole thing because I had a very long exchange from him. A lot of capital letters, a lot of lies, many, pathetic,
oh yeah, because
cannot,
right.
Weakness, pathetic, loser, all those words are capitalized. But I just want you to read the last text for people. Can you see that? What is that?
I cannot read that.
The last
it's
text
very pixely,
sent,
so you're
7:05 a.m. 2 words. Go Tampa.
today.
When he's completely lost his mind, he starts rooting for the other team, because what he wants is he wants ultimate pain.
Because he wants ultimate
Boone
pain.
fired,
He wants
fired, everyone
yeah,
cleaned
I
out.
understand.
But I want to just close the.
We've
If
gone down
last
that road
year
before. It
wasn't-
doesn't happen. It
Right.
doesn't happen. Even in ultimate pain,
If last year
they
didn't-
don't make changes like that. So
If last year didn't
when
cause
it's the
that,
most
then-
obvious thing
then
to
I
do.
don't expect it. Although, if you blow this division lead, if they blow this division lead,
Boone
you,
this
you
year.
can't bring Boone back.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You can't do it. No, but like you had a
We said that
fucking
last year,
15
too,
game
but-
lead
I
halfway
know,
through the
you
season,
cannot.
and if you blow that lead, I don't even care
were
about
on
the
pace for
pace. Okay, you
120
had like a
wins halfway
14
through
and
the
a
year.
half game lead at one point. You blow that, like I'm sorry, you lose your job. Head's got to roll.
What is the worst blown lead?
Well, I know
in
the
a
Red
division?
Sox
That's
back
what-
in
this is where we
'78
need,
blew the
Logan
14
on the line.
Yes, it
but
was. It was 14 games. It was exactly.
It wasn't 14 games, was it?
But I know the Mets
Okay,
back
it was
in
14 games. There we go.
8, I want to say, or 07, 06, 07, 08, that time frame blew like an 8-game lead in September, which was, and the Red Sox. Remember the Red Sox blew like the 9-game lead.
And then it was the Braves and the Red Sox both in the same year. I remember making a
Throwback.
collapse
Can I close
with
the loop on
with both
the
of their
whole
logos in
discussion?
it.
Because one thing, I'm looking at his Fangraphs page right now. 3.28 ERA, 2.98 expected ERA, 3.23 FIP, 2.85 expected FIP, 3.3 WAR. Would you consider those numbers a success for Garrett Cole? Yeah,
They
good
sound
not
like
Cy
good
Young
numbers, yeah.
numbers. Good numbers.
Not great
So,
numbers, but
the
good
argument
numbers.
is Garrett Cole a good pitcher? We all know he's a good pitcher, and this frustrates me sometimes. I see it from Yankees fans on Twitter, but I also hear it a lot from David Cohn on the broadcast, where he's defending Garrett Cole because he's just using his overall numbers, and you can cherry pick any number to make your argument. But you're absolutely right. In the micro moments, Garrett Cole lets the team down more than he picks the team up. And I'm not saying that's the end all be all, because ultimately if he has a big moment in the postseason this year, then like you forget about all the regular season letdowns. But my feelings towards Garrett Cole is when it's a big moment in the regular season, whether it's an at-bat against Rafael Devers or an at-bat against Shohei Ohtani or a game against Toronto when the team is sputtering and they've got finally a lead and then he gives up 5 runs in the 5th inning, I constantly am getting let down by Garrett Cole. And that's what is ultimately my feelings towards him.
When you have a number one pitcher who's your ace, and I know that word we've disagreed on in the past, but there's no disagreeing that Garrett Cole should be the ace. Prototypical, he's the guy, Hoss, like number one dude. What we're not seeing is completion. Finish what you start. Finish. That was always such a big emphasis for pitchers, back in the day. But finish what you start, and the finishing what you start expectation has certainly gotten lower. Like Get through 7 innings. It used to be go 9 innings, go 8 innings, but it's like get through 6, get through 7 unscathed. But finish what you start. Walk off the field without giving up the lead, without giving up the big home run, without letting the team back in. Like finish what you start is getting to that point, the precipice of his start, and then giving up the feeling of this was a good start, even though the numbers say it. It's like that late letdown gives you that lasting, bad taste in your mouth for him, even though his numbers, it's the not being able to put a full start, complete it in the books against the best competition. And he does do it, but there are more times than not. And at least my gut and my eyes and my brain are telling me that it happens more often than not, because we are critical of him for this often. Like, this is not a storyline that is just, yes, it does.
Doesn't it feel like
it does.
every other time he pitches, we are talking about this?
Yeah. In his start since the All-Star break, and there were multiple starts where he gave up this big inning and just couldn't finish what he was doing. Like, he's not going into the dugout feeling great. It doesn't happen very often. And when to your point, Shohei Ohtani, best player on the team. Mike Trout, fine. You want to argue either way. One of the two of those guys, like, you can't leave a meatball to him over the plate with 2 runners on in the 6th inning when you have a 2-run lead. You just can't do it.
It's partially unfair because the expectation everyone has for Garrett Cole is go pitch 7 shutout innings. So when he goes and pitches 7 shutout innings, which he has done, he pitched fantastic.
Yeah,
in
Oakland's a shitty team also.
Anything less than that, he gets criticized for. So I recognize the hypocrisy.
It's not, though. If he gave up 1 run, if he gave up 2 runs, if he didn't give up a 3-run home run to Shohei Ohtani in the 6th inning to take the lead, this is a situation that you need to come out of. You need to come out of it with the lead. Bottom line, you need to come out of it with the lead. If you're giving up a run in that inning, fine, you give up a run in that inning, but you cannot give up the big home run to their best player when that guy is seeking a fastball over the plate, waiting for you to make a mistake, and he's going to be jumping on it. That's exactly what happened. That situation is exactly how it went.
And it's such a letdown for the team. Not that the offense has been doing anything anyway, but you're down now. Your ace just gave up the lead, and pack it in. Pack it in. What time's our flight? We got a long flight back to the East Coast, sort of feeling.
Yeah, and against the team that, you look at Tampa, 1-3 in a row. Yankees just split a series in Oakland, bad team, and lost a series to Anaheim, bad team. 2 bad teams on the West Coast. You come out with a very negative feeling back, and now you're playing Tampa, who's on a hot streak and smells blood. This team smells blood, and I don't want this team has been injured all year long, and I know the Yankees are going through a good spell of injuries in the bullpen. The guys are coming back right now, but Tampa's also getting healthy. They're getting healthy at the right time, and they're seemingly hitting their stride at the right time. This is a problem. A hungry Tampa team who knows how to win, who's been there before, who has a coach a manager that knows how to win, knows how to. What do we say about Kevin Cash? This guy knows how to get the best out of his team, and he's playing checkers and chess at the same time. Like he's got so many different things happening that a lot of their success and failure is off of his moves because he's doing so much. Bad place to be for the Yankees. They're against Tampa, up 6 in the standings. We'll see what happens. Like this is a nut. You want to talk about nut up moments? Back against the wall. Like okay, Yankees need some.
Go win the series in Tampa. Right. A nut up moment would be if you take 2 out of 3, especially around the All-Star. Around the All-Star break about not panicking, right? Like because the Yankees had sort of started to struggle before the All-Star break. Everyone was eyeing the trade deadline. I remember Giancarlo Stanton gave an interview at the All-Star game. I forget who did the interview. It might have been Ken Rosenthal or something. And he said, we just can't start acting like the wheels are about to fall off just because we've lost a few games. And like at the time that made sense, right? Like, okay, you went 500, but that just kept going on and on and on and on and on. Do you think, because we've seen this from this team before, that the lack of urgency these past 2 months because they had such a big lead, do you think that?
I don't know, because at some point you start pressing.
You make yes, there's worse, injuries.
Possibly what happened too.
I know, there's injuries, but they got rid of Joey Gallo, the worst offensive player in the team. Added Andrew Benintendi.
I don't believe any of this
bullshit.
All were
like unanimously.
The offense is just
an
amazing
move,
bottom line,
and he's been a lot better lately. They added Frankie Montas, who should be a clear number 2 pitcher. We're going to 2 bullpen arms, which they desperately needed,
and he's playing.
So it's like
very
I know
well.
there's been injuries, and I mean even Efros has been injured. So fine, like but injuries happen. This team should still have enough.
Yeah, dog shit.
Right, they're 426 baseball over 2 months. 426.
I'm not saying injuries are the problem. I'm not blaming injuries. These guys have enough to win and to at least play 500 plus ball. Like that this is what we're talking about. Yeah. That's my point. Keep the status quo at least, and they're not even being able to do that because they're getting into such bad offensive slumps. The pitching
my
is not
favorite
the problem.
stats are like when the Yankees get home runs from Judge and Stan and Rizzo,
and it makes no sense. It just makes no sense to me because they are more balanced.
It's like
they are
Tuesday.
less
they got
home run dependent. And maybe that's it. Maybe this team just has to hit home
the game. Awesome. Where were the home runs last night?
Yeah. Throwing home run, it was beautiful. LeMahieu got on. Benintendi hits a bullet line drive single, just like gets on beautiful. His swing looks really nice when he makes good contact. He's got a really nice lefty swing. Boom, set the table, 2 outs, all with 2 outs. Aaron Judge comes up, boom, long ball. Like you can't plan that any better. That's exactly how it's supposed to go down. Set up, 2 outs, 2 pesky hitters that can make contact, and then you line up your big guy with 2 outs, all with 2 outs. That is some great baseball. Do that more, for God's sakes. That is how it goes down. Long fly ball in the gap, whatever. Judge can get a single, not going to run. There's just so many good things can happen at that point, and you feel good as a baseball team. And I don't understand why they can't put more of that together. It makes no sense. Glaber's been not good since the All-Star break. Donaldson is just
now you're saying
IKF
has not been good.
Not,
He's
he
been
hasn't
exactly.
been good.
We went through this like a week and a half ago.
He's hitting.
He's been exactly what he was in Texas. Exactly.
He's been fine. He's been fine. But when you have the rest of the team,
IKF has been. Yeah, that's a different story. Offensively, let me clarify. Offensively,
I know he's not a problem. The boot last night pissed me off.
Exactly what the Yankees thought they were getting. Like down to a T, other than a couple more home runs, which frankly, instead of 6 or 7, like
yes.
It's not going to make or break this team, right? Like batting average wise, on base percentage wise, WRC plus wise, he's been exactly what they signed up for. And when we were looking at those clutch numbers, those high leverage numbers, he actually was one of the better offensive players on the team. LeMahieu right now is going through a long slump, okay? And there was a situation on Monday where
that is true.
DJ did a safety squeeze with first and third and 1 out in the third it was the third inning. And they scored the run, But then they walked Judge immediately after that, and then Benintendi grounded out. Now, on the one hand, cool. It's another safety squeeze. We saw them do that a few weeks back in Boston, the game that you were at, and it worked, and that won them the game. And so you're thinking, okay, yeah, like let's get a run. Like any way you can scratch across a run, this team desperately needs it. But it's the third inning with DJ up and Judge on deck. I don't know that that's the best situation to be pulling that safety squeeze. Now, I know I just said DJ's been in a huge slump. So at that point, I almost have to say he's either healthy enough to go up and try and hit in that spot, or don't start him.
Yeah, I mean, at that point at that juncture in the game, I'm not looking to safety squeeze with LeMahieu at the plate and Judge coming up. It's just not a. I'm still looking for an inning. What did I just describe? A 2-out situation where you had that guy set it up, get the big man up, not pushing a run over. Like, you should have a lot of confidence for DJ LeMahieu to go up there with his bat skills to get on base, to knock a single, to do like as good of an. I have as good of a feeling with him to do that than a safety squeeze probably. Like, he's the guy that I trust with the bat. So to your point, if he's not healthy and you don't think he has the ability to do that right now because something's up with his wrist or whatever the case may be, if something is not right, then yeah, you need to sit him and let him get right. But DJ's one of those guys who's not gonna. If it affects you in game like that, if that was and again, speculation on if that's the case, or
that okay, fine. Trevino's up in that situation, or
different
IKF's up in that situation. That's a
best
different story.
basketball guy.
This is
at the plate.
This is not the time to do that. That's not the game situation. I want to be safety squeezing in. If it's the 8th inning or the 9th inning, that's a different story. But it's the 3rd inning, so it's either that, which is just a bad managerial decision, or it's a situation where they need to actually pull DJ from the lineup, because if you're changing your approach in your play calls because a guy is not healthy enough, then that's a detriment to the team. Yeah, it's great that he's a gamer. Like, I love that. But at a certain point, you have to say, well, you're actually hurting the team by playing.
And that's the manager's job. That is the manager's job, to assess the team, have good relationships with players, so to get some honesty out of them, understand when they're maybe not being as honest. This is why he was here initially. Good communicator. So if you don't have that rapport, have that understanding, have that level of read on your guy, and are able to make a hard decision because of that, then you're effectively not doing your job.
Yeah,
he ain't their best baseball strategist. We all know that. So if it's a matter of him just not being able to understand if a player is at a capacity to help the team or not at a capacity to help the team,
I still have concerns over his in-game.
Of course, we all do.
Management.
He got a lot of leash in the first half of the year. That leash is completely fucking gone, completely gone. Probably were happenstance because the team was playing well. Great, he got them. We were in the position where we should have given him the positive comments. No longer. This is now a potential disaster situation, to be honest. If they blow a 14-game lead, and which is absolutely on the table right now. There's a month to play, 6 games against Tampa, 6 games up in the column. Big time possible with the way that this team is playing. Would you say 432? Yeah. If they run at that clip, 426. They run at that clip and Tampa starts winning more games than not,
for 2
going to
months.
be a problem. Toronto starts winning more games. They're only 2 back from them. Going to be a problem.
So it's like you say blow. Do you legitimately mean they blow the lead, or are you more talking about even if they scrape and claw their way, right? Like if they're playing games in the last week of the season to try and
I'm talking
like,
about
in my mind that's almost
completely.
a failure.
If you get overtaken.
Okay,
which is,
so
by the way, it's very much on the table.
What happens
right now.
if you end up winning the? I know it's very much on the table. It's a 6-game lead, and you've got 6 left against Tampa, and
which is
a month
the
of
biggest
baseball
problem.
to play, and the team is playing like garbage. Yes, it's very much on the table. But what happens if they end up just winning the division by 2 or 3 games, which means it got playoffs? Why does that? In my mind, that's just as much of a failure.
I'm not saying that that's not a bad situation, But when you cannot blow this lead to walk in the playoffs. Bottom line, like if you have it, you are one of the top 2 teams. Okay, like all right, forget about what the fuck just happened here. Forget about.
I don't think
the
this
late
team
collapse.
can forget about
But
it.
that's what they have to do. I'm not saying what they should do. That's what they now. It's happening right now. You could say that this lead has gotten down to a point where they're stressing about it. So whether it's 2 to 3 games or 6 games, 5 games in the loss column, at this juncture, if they were to lose every single game to Tampa, then there would be a problem. I know there's other games in between the second set, but it would be a problem.
Well, they've got 3 against Tampa this weekend, and then they've got 4 against Minnesota at home, and then 3 against Tampa at home, and then that's it for Tampa. So as of September 11th, they're done playing Tampa, and then 3.5 more weeks of baseball after that because of the lockout. So they've got, I mean, they don't finish the season until October 5th, and they finished the season with a 4-game, 3-day road trip in Texas.
Yeah, with a doubleheader. With a doubleheader mixed in there.
On Tuesday, October 4th, they've got a doubleheader in Texas.
And oh, by the way,
that's how you wrap up the season.
You look at the schedule early days, you're like, okay, you're ending with Pittsburgh, then Boston, Toronto, Baltimore. You're looking the last week of baseball, Baltimore, Texas. Hey, Baltimore's playing some goddamn good baseball right now, and you don't think that they're probably going to be clawing for a wild card game at that point. They are going to be playing some very high-level baseball and high-pressure baseball, highly motivated, whether they are in striking distance of that last wild card, or if the Yankees are in a position where they could blow a lead, and now all of a sudden Baltimore has the ability to say something about that. That's plenty motivation enough for a young team in a division that's played much better
Bad team,
than
motivated team, unmotivated team. The Yankees are their own worst enemy right now. So it doesn't matter who is on the schedule. They could have a freaking Little League team on the schedule, and they're going to struggle because that's just how the team is going right now. And yeah, you couple it with you got to go into Tampa this weekend. Tampa is looking at it like these morons are coming back from the West Coast, having just dropped a series to the Angels and split a series with Oakland. They're chopping at the bit to get the Yankees at the Trop right now.
They are. Does Aaron Judge play every game?
Fucking
in the
better
outfield?
well dare play every game in the outfield. I mean,
I'm not here to slander Aaron Judge by any means. He has been the Luke Skywalker of this team.
And this is the time. Yeah, I know.
Playing every position, hitting the ball.
This is you need him right now. I mean, you can't. I mean, I guess you could DH him and put Stanton in the outfield for a day. Like, fine, whatever. If they
he's been struggling. That's a guy that needs to get going, and maybe that's exactly what he needs. Some more cowbell. Throw him in the outfield.
Ball is 29-13 for mid roll. Okay, I want to talk about Montas because he's been obviously a disappointment since they acquired him. And he also gave up a big home run on Monday to Ohtani. So Ohtani has the most career home runs off of any pitcher off of Montas. He's seen him obviously a lot in the West Division, and he's just eating them for breakfast. And Montas had thrown him 4 splitters, and Ohtani finally got that last one, which wasn't.
It was
even
a hell of
bad
a piece
pitch.
of hitting.
It was,
to be honest.
It was a splitter low and away, and when I saw that, I was like, that's maybe a fly ball to the warning track. Like at most, like you don't pull that pitch and hit it out to right center field, and that's what Ohtani did. So sometimes you got to tip your cap. But also,
he knows
best player beat you again.
Like you mentioned, he knows Montas. He knows his pitches. He was clearly working off of that splitter. Knows that that's a pitch that he wants to get by him. But I mean, that's a hell of a baseball play right there. That is a tip your cap situation to Shohei Ohtani. I'm not even saying like, yeah, the best player beats you, but that is why he's the best player on the other team, is because he's beating you on your own accord. It wasn't a meatball over the plate. 98 mile an hour fastballs are now meatballs because any fastball, no matter what the speed is.
Monday game, and Montas has been, like I said, a disappointment.
He's similar in fashion where he hasn't been able to finish a start.
What were your expectations for Montas coming in? Like, That's a very open-ended question, but like, what were you like? I don't know. I obviously didn't watch him a ton, but his numbers in Oakland were very good. I was expecting him to. I was not expecting what we've got, which just looks like a mediocre 5-inning pitcher. Okay, like I was expecting him every single game he goes out there to pitch at least 6 innings and obviously not shut the other team out, but I thought they were adding another pitcher who's like you can rely on 6 innings, 2 runs or less every single time.
I thought we were going to get. I was expecting a guy that was electric, bringing some energy to the team, striking guys out. Good velocity fastball, and yes, is a complimentary number 2 guy that you can depend on, and possibly as close to a number 1 as you could get on the market. Not named Luis Castillo, who obviously has pitched like a number 1. Montas was clearly the number 2. Everybody knew that Montas was the number 2 if you're comparing the 2 guys. But I definitely expected a hell of a lot more than what I'm seeing. I didn't expect him to be, giving up these starts and not being able to finish them. Like that has been the problem with him. He's come out there and given up a big home run, it seems like, every time. This guy has not pitched a clean clean outing really since he's been here. So his expectations have not even come close to even like the lower end of my expectation level. He's been, I'll say it, the name Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray came over in the numbers if you look at the situation, similar situation, came from Oakland, was a guy that we thought was going to be good, actually was good in the second half of the year. Sonny Gray was not the Sonny Gray that we know and hate that second half of the year after the acquisition. He was good after he got to the Yankees after the deadline. It was the following year that we started to see the smile and all of the horse shit stuff from him. He was actually pretty good when he came over. So expecting a similar type of thing to him. Ace potential, but solid
starts for the Yankees. His first start was at the Cardinals, and that was right after he came back from the bereavement leave.
It was bad.
And obviously, new team, knew everything. But he gave up 6 runs in 3 innings, and I think it was a 5 or a 6 run second inning, and that was the blow up inning. And
he was still working
I
up
completely
in pitch
threw that
count
one
too.
out.
At
Like,
this
okay,
point,
you get him. That's a breakfast ball, right? First tee, you shank it into the woods, you get a mulligan on that one. He follows that up on August 13th. You were at that game in Boston. 2 runs over 5 innings. Okay, fine. But he just completely fizzled out in his start. And
do you have his pitch count on that when you're looking at it or no? His pitch count, I mean, he was getting to a point. That's the other thing is like he's getting to a point now where if he's finishing 5-6 innings, like, okay, 78. Well, again, so he was still working his way up there. So that was not really a factor. But yeah, he was.
Well, no, remember that inning? The inning he had like
came out
2
of
walks and a wild pitch, or like a hit batter and a wild pitch. It was like he just completely lost it.
Yeah, he was
then
all over.
He comes back,
the
first start at Yankee Stadium against Toronto on August 18th and gives up 6 runs over 6 innings. And that was another big blow-up inning early. But he did end up going 6. So I guess you can argue, okay, he settled in after that. But, like, you give up 6 runs. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care what you do after that. You gave up 6 runs, you're going to lose the game. The Yankees lost 9-2. I would say his first good start for the Yankees was against the Mets on August 23 at home. He gave up 2 runs over 5 2/3 innings. But he did have 6 strikeouts. I thought his stuff looked the sharpest in that game. There was a stretch, I believe he struck out 4 or 5 batters in a row, but he had a stretch where it was actually like electric stuff. So that was the first time I'm like, okay, I see glimpses of what Montas is or could be. And then obviously this recent start in Anaheim, 4 runs over 6 innings, the big home run to Ohtani was the difference. And then, what that amounts to as pitching as a Yankee is a 7.01 ERA over 25 2/3 innings. Obviously garbage numbers. So we looked at like, okay, what are some of the advanced stuff saying? Like, what is different between his time this season in Oakland and his time with the Yankees so far? And looking at Fangraphs runs above average by pitch type, so they actually assign a run value to each pitch. I mean, it's just the 2 biggest things that stick out are his fastball which was pretty much a league average fastball in Oakland, has been minus 4.7 runs for the Yankees. His slider, which was his most valuable pitch, positive 6.5 runs for Oakland, has been minus 3.1 runs for the Yankees. That's a massive swing. And his splitter, which was also a well above league average pitch in Oakland, positive 2.3 runs, has been barely above league average with the Yankees at 0.5. So it's just like his pitches, he's not pitching as well, like clear as day, not pitching as well. But what about the pitch mix? So with Oakland, his fastball usage was a little bit over 26.6%, and with the Yankees, 27.6%. So he's throwing slightly more fastballs. And like I said, his fastball has been significantly worse with the Yankees. His slider, he's throwing about 3% less with the Yankees. And his sinker, he's throwing 5% more with the Yankees. So is this is how he's feeling? He's working, like he did have that shoulder injury as well, right? Like he had that shoulder injury right before the Yankees traded for him.
I mean, that's not a footnote. That is an important piece of this, I think, to be honest. This man came back from a shoulder inflammation, got a cortisone shot. I don't think they put him on the IL at some point. They skipped starts. He came back after the All-Star break. So this was a man that was working back up. When traded for the Yankees, Brian Cashman looked over there and said, "Okay, give me that guy." The guy with shoulder inflammation. The guy that
injured guy? Yeah, I want him.
The guy that's not really pitching.
Buy low.
Yeah. The guy that, buy low. That guy. I want that guy. That's the one who's coming. When I see that and I see the fastball, the fastball effectiveness go down, to me that says, in my head, okay, the fastball is not effective. Why? Not able to locate it. We've seen him have control problems. You're not able to locate your fastball for whatever reason, arm fatigue, soreness, because you're working back up again, then everything else that you're working off, because this guy should be working off of his fastball, which if you look back at the numbers from Oakland, he does quite often work off that fastball. The splitter is way more effective when you have a fastball that you can locate. If you can locate a fastball down in the zone and you're able to throw that for a strike, and then you're able to throw an effective splitter, that is a nightmare for a batter. You don't know what to look for. First of all, a fastball down in the zone, hard to handle. You have a splitter that looks like a fastball coming out of your hand down in the zone that just disappears on you. Very hard to handle. That is his thing. He's able to do that and be a very effective pitcher. When you're not able to locate that fastball, when you're up in the zone with that fastball, up in the zone fastball does not allow you to throw that effective splitter because it doesn't look the same. You're not throwing a splitter high in the zone. You know that's a fastball coming. So there's a lot of things. If he's not able to locate that fastball, if it's because of the arm or the shoulder, and we got damaged goods, knowingly damaged goods. This was not a guy. This is also a former PED guy. He's been popped for PEDs in the past. He comes off of a shoulder injury, not even all the way back yet. This is two. Oh my God, I'm getting more pissed off as I talk about this. Cashman got 2 injured players at the deadline and gave up an effective, healthy starting pitcher who is dominating in the National League right now. That's what just happened.
I don't care at this point if he does.
I don't know if he's coming back.
Okay?
Haven't heard much
about it.
You
need Jordan Montgomery right
guys,
now.
You
could lose, even if Jordan Montgomery was not going to be pitching to a 1.8 ERA for the Yankees, even if he was doing exactly what he was doing for the Yankees, fine. You need that.
He's
right
a 3.5, 3.3 guy. That's what he's always been. Yeah, fine. That's good. I know. But when if you're getting an injured Frankie Montas who's coming over, and clearly he's not right. This is not the guy that everybody thought they were getting. So if you're blaming New York, if you're blaming the pressure, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at a guy who doesn't seem that healthy, who can't locate a fastball,
slider.
Who then, because of that,
his slider
can't
has been not as effective
his
because his fastball, like you said,
as he has been, because he can't
Another
locate the damn
thing that's
fastball.
happened here, but his best pitch was his slider. His
but
best
fastball
pitch was
splitter
his slider.
are the that's the combo that he needs. If he has a fastball splitter,
I'm not saying
combo,
he works off
the
of
rest
his
of them can
slider,
go.
but you throw if.
Yes, that doesn't mean he works off of his slider though. His best pitch.
Yes,
It may be the most
Yes,
effective at
but
that
also
point, but
slider
you are
works
set
off
up by
fastball.
that
Splitter
fastball,
works off
which
fastball.
the
Okay, slider
splitter and the
goes
fastball are looking
down
the
and
same.
away from righty. Splitter goes down.
Slider looks different out of the hand. Splitter and fastball look the same
Yes,
coming
I
out of
know
the hand.
that. But
That's the
what
point.
I'm talking about is
If you can't effectively
if
do
you
that,
have
then
those three
it's
pitches,
then you're in
fastball,
trouble with
slider,
everything else.
Splitter. You have effectively out pitches on both sides of the plate to both righties and lefties. And right now he can't locate his fastball, like you said.
Yeah.
He's also last 3 starts, oddly, throwing his splitter way less. I know he just said he tried to throw it a bunch of times to Ohtani, but otherwise his slider percentage is down in each of his last 3 starts. Excuse me, his splitter percentage is down and his sinker percentage is up. So is this a case of the Yankees trying to tinker with guys again? Because this would not be the first time that the Yankees get a pitcher in the door and then they just like, oh, by the way, you're no longer doing this. You're doing this instead. I know this has worked for you for the past 4 years, but you're going to now throw sinkers more, or you're going to now not throw your slider.
The difference between his splitter and his sinker, I assume, is the horizontal movement on the sinker, similar to what they're doing with Holmes. So, either they're trying some different things. I mean, they're doing it with Trevino right now, and it's working very well. So Blake has a thing that he does with guys. They look for a particular thing, and they believe that they can make it more effective by tinkering with them a little bit. Look, man, I don't know if that is something that they are tinkering with, and that's the reason why. I go back to fastball effectiveness, fastball location.
Well,
if you're not able to do that,
Montas
first and foremost, everything else is going to be worse.
In Oakland,
like,
this season. No, but what I'm saying is, like, from a performance.
Nothing. His shoulder felt good until it didn't.
19 times for Oakland to a 3.18 ERA, a 3.36 FIP, and he allowed opponents' batting average 233 and OPS 656. If you just got exactly that, what is wrong with that?
Nothing.
But he's you're missing my point. If you're the health thing is obviously
healthy.
An issue. But putting that aside, if you're bringing Frankie Montas in to change him from already a good pitcher, I don't necessarily agree with that. Trevino had been awful, so they're trying to fix Trevino. I get it. If you just get a carbon copy or even 85% of that.
I see your
fans
point.
right now are like, okay, great, we got another good starting pitcher. If you want to tinker with him in the offseason and go into next year with a plan, fine, by all means. But you acquire a guy at a deadline. It's already hard enough coming into New York at a deadline. Okay? Fucking just go out there and do your thing, man.
Well, I hear you, but I'm also saying that may not be the case, just as simple as that. Again, this is speculation, but there's a lot of smoke here. When you look at when he came over and the cortisone shot being a month and a half ago now, maybe the cortisone, maybe he's not feeling that as much. But if you're pitching the first half of the year and you're healthy and you're not feeling it and you're throwing that mix and getting the results that you're talking about, great. But when you come over and you're not healthy, you're working back up, that's when they're potentially trying to tinker with things because you're not as effective on the fastball as you were. Therefore, you have to do other things. So it's not a one-to-one if you're coming over. And when he came over, he was still, gearing up. And I know he was on bereavement leave and all that, too, the shoulder injury. Then he was out for the bereavement as well. So there were a lot of things that were working against him, both physically and then just away from the game. And it's almost like he was, going back through like a little bit of a spring training. And at that point, they're, identifying what they have. And it's possible that fastball just not the same as it was. Like velocity is not is not a good thing to judge for knowing how effective a fastball is. You could still throw a fastball hard. It's the location. If you can't locate that fastball, that is the bigger issue. That is a bigger telling sign to say that someone is not right.
No, but I'm talking about the moves, right?
He's been bad since he's gotten here. There's no second guessing. Something is not the same
with the Mariners than he was in Cincy. And Jordan Montgomery's obvious. He's been the best pitcher acquired at the deadline. Okay, so great. But you look at it and it's just like, man, how do the Yankees keep whiffing on these things?
If we find out later, and I will not be surprised. In fact, I almost expect it
He
that
cleared medicals.
that Frankie
Like,
Montas was not right coming over here.
What is Cashman's word here?
That's a
We
huge
do our
problem.
due diligence on
That
these
is a
players.
huge
Yeah,
problem.
CSI Bronx on these guys, and our medical staff cleared them, and Frankie Montas.
CSI,
is good to go.
yeah,
Like he did his due diligence. So like, no.
yeah. Anyway, okay, but maybe they were
Look
wrong.
the other way.
Maybe they were wrong. We find out, or if they were okay with a particular thing that they expected to be fine. No, if they saw inflammation, but they didn't think it was serious, and
It was
and
like
they
10
understood
days,
that a
or
little
10
bit
or
of
11
rest,
days in between
bereavement,
starts.
he
So
was gone.
I was
How
just
long
reading
he
a
away?
quote from
A
Boone.
week?
It was an SI article written right after the
it was-
trade, and
it's 10 or 11
Boone's
days, I
quote
think, is
was the only potential hookup is the shoulder. Hiccup. Did I say hookup? Hiccup. He said hookup. Boone. He said it in an
Hookup?
I'll
Only
go back
possible-
and I'll find the quote.
hiccup. He said that recently.
Boone. This article was published on
After
SI
the acquisition,
right
or after
the
he's been
trade,
pitching for
August
a minute?
1st.
Here.
He's got a full arsenal and weapons and the stuff that you look for at the top of the rotation. Boone told reporters following the trade, he's gone out and proven through the last couple of years that he has the kind of he is that kind of caliber of pitcher. The only potential quote hiccup, as Boone called it, with Montes is his shoulder.
Are you serious? The only potential hiccup. Therefore, they knew something. Okay, it's not a potential hiccup. It had been a hiccup when they acquired him, right? Let's examine these words a little bit, because I think there's something behind these words. The only hiccup he has had this year is the shoulder. Okay, if you said that is something. But when you talk about the only potential hiccup that you're saying, that to me, when I think of potential, I'm thinking of forward thinking in the future, is the shoulder. Therefore, they knew something was still up with the shoulder. Maybe it was a little still sore, working back from it. The only potential hiccup means it could still be a
potential hiccup is like,
and that means they got damaged goods.
Unfortunately, lost a member of.
That's
his
what that
family,
means to
and
me.
He's going to be gone, and there's going to be some problems there. No, but what I'm saying is, like, a hiccup is not a shoulder injury for a pitcher. Like that's not
that
a
is a
hiccup.
current hiccup
That's
at
a
the time.
freaking
Yeah, that's-
massive wall in front of you.
Yeah. Whatever, hiccup, definitely not the right thing to talk about an essential piece of a pitcher's body. But the problem for me is when I hear a potential hiccup, that means don't fully trust it. Don't fully know when he came over, not fully healthy, working back up from the shoulder. We'll see how it goes. Medical staff feels good about what it is because it's inflammation, that it will be subsided and he will be back at full strength. That is them expecting something to happen based on their opinion, based on their medical expertise. And I don't know if that's happened. And that's a huge problem, man. That's a huge
right.
And the fact, if you knew that also
right.
with giving up Montgomery,
you give up Montgomery
for another fucking injured guy,
what was not an immediate need on this team. Okay, I know they keep talking like Hicks has been bad, but I'm sorry, center field was not an immediate need on the team because Judge has been just fine in center field, and if you need a defensive replacement, Tim LeCastro will do just fine. If it means keeping Jordan Montgomery, when you knew you're trading for a guy that has question marks because of his shoulder, and you're going to have to hopefully get Severino back at some point, which is not a given, and you might have to shut down Nestor Cortez because of innings pitching limits. Like, I'm sorry, that's a massive gamble to take. Maybe they were like, oh, we've got a 14-game lead. We can take this risk. This is a calculated risk. Well, guess what? Guess what?
I'm serious. I think that was definitely part of it. And oh, by the way, you have a kid named
I got
Cabrera
some-
in AAA who walks up here and just knows what he's doing in every position he's played. Looks fluid, can do everything
It's
on
fine.
the field.
It's like he's not like
he
he puts good swings on the ball, like,
and has a bat. Like he's been tremendous.
Can I
he'll
read
be.
one
I
more
mean,
quote from
and
this
he's
article
coming in
about
just
Montes?
doing this. Like
Boone
I
said
expect
he's
him
got
to
a
be,
little bit of a
he's
bulldog
a good
presence.
player.
I felt like out on the mound, hearing that hearing that's the kind of makeup he has, I think he'll look forward to pitching here, pitching in this stadium, and just being a part of this group. I don't think we've seen that bulldog mentality yet. I don't think I'm ready to say he doesn't have that bulldog mentality, but I'm waiting to see it.
But when I hear that, I hear about I think about a grinder, a killer, like a guy who's just going to go out there and bring a lot of enthusiasm to the mound, bring a lot of energy, and be able to live on those moments to finish off a start. That's what a bulldog goes in there and finishes the job, with the same intensity that he starts the game with. That's what I'm expecting. And unfortunately, we're seeing him tire, potentially because of shoulder inflammation, towards the end. And that is something that unless another cortisone shot or more rest,
it's almost
that ain't
crazy.
going away.
He's got +5 defensive runs saved in right field so far, and +2 at shortstop. And this is in like minimal innings. So it's been pretty amazing what he's done.
He looks very fluid out there. He looks very comfortable. So, even if that's the case, you like you said, center field was not a problem where you need to give up a guy that has been a very steady, effective pitcher. That, oh, by the way, has a little bit of a bulldog in him to finish starts, because he actually does. And we're seeing it even more when he's out there wearing the Cardinal red, for a guy that's in a boot. When you had a kid and also in AAA who can come in here and play an effective right field, a good right field, and Judge can still play some center, and then you mix in somebody else in center. It was not a problem. Certainly not enough of one to give up a good starting
But hey,
pitcher
he wasn't going to start a playoff game.
You're bringing on someone with shoulder inflammation,
Doesn't
and
matter.
you freaking knew it.
All right.
It changes a lot of things when you identify that Montas is coming over and not the guy that we all thought he was going to be. It changes things even more if we do find out or determine that he was truly damaged goods coming over. I mean, he was damaged goods. We know that because he was working back from a shoulder injury. But if he was worse than they thought and they gave up Montgomery, wow, that's a massive failure. That is a massive, massive failure and irresponsible to what this team was.
Right,
it's almost
that's
like
going to
a
wrap
sabotage.
up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back at you probably due Monday, either Sunday after the Tampa game or Monday morning. I know it's what's that, Labor Day? It's Labor Day, right? I always mess up the two. Labor Day coming up. So we will talk to you guys then. Don't forget to call the voicemail line, 646-480-0342. Always love hearing from you guys. Submit your mailbag questions, and if they're good, we will read them. We have not been reading many because they have not been good, so step it up. All right, we'll talk to you then.